your host, Taylor Schroll. Instead of Fr. Anthony Sciarappa today, we have Dr. Father Anthony Sciarappa. If you are not watching on the YouTubes, Father Anthony, why don't you explain what you are doing currently?
So I am wearing a mask that was made by one of our parishioners. So I got a mask. This was it's kind of like a gray with stripes. It's very simple looking, but I could have picked a yellow one with ladybugs on it, but I would rather get the corona than wear a mask that had ladybugs on it. So
I would get the corona if it meant that you had a ladybug face mask on it.
I will trade you one corona for Anthony to look ridiculous.
Here's what's crazy. Liv Harrison got in my head. Fellow co-host and a decent person, I guess. Got in my head because she was very worried about me this summer, and because I was sick for months. And coughing. I had all the symptoms of corona. And I was like, no, it was just like my allergies or something. It was like stress related. Like I was stressed out. I have bad allergies. It was, something along that. And she was like, you probably had it then. I was like, no. It didn't start till like November. And then I found out in the news that this thing has been going since like March. And I'm like, maybe I did.
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
It just wasn't a pandemic. It was just like a new strain of things. And here's what's crazy. I had the swine flu, so I'm one of the weaklings that gets these viruses. Wow, that's not a thing I should have said. I just called people weak. I was referring to myself. I was trying to call myself a weakling, and then I just realized that during the midst of a pandemic, I said something very inappropriate, and I apologize. It's not what I meant.
It's too late. You're canceled and the show's over forever. Sorry.
Yeah, if only I could edit this. Wait, I'm a professional editor. Yeah, I'm not editing it out. It was whatever. Content is king, as you once told me.
Yes. Everything is content. Content is king.
Okay, so speaking of content, we've got some great content for you today. I promise that's the only time I'll disparage anyone that's suffering, other than myself.
Or me, come on.
Well, do I have to say that? I mean,
just making sure it's all out there.
This show, most of the content is making fun of you, whether you are on the episode or not.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Mm-hmm.
So today's guest is a professional comedian. We'll get to that here pretty soon. So, you only have to bear with us for the rest of this segment. But then a professional comedian comes in. Aaron Weber's rejoining the show. And one thing that I didn't realize is that the last time Aaron Weber was on, you were the co-host. And this was like your second time ever co-hosting. So
I know.
I went back and listened, and it was very silly because I was like, I went back and listened to the interview. I'll talk about why here whenever he comes on. But I also had to listen to the beginning because at the beginning of in the description of the episode, I was looking for Aaron, and the description of the episode, it says, I start off the show with a prank of Father Anthony. And I was like, that sounds right, but I don't remember what it was because this was not last Christmas when I gave you my heart. It was the Christmas before where you ripped it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, the episode aired the day after Christmas, and I asked for you to share your Christmas homily. Do you remember this?
Yes. So you asked me to share what I had preached when in reality I had not preached it yet.
Right, because we were all traveling and have families and stuff for Christmas. So we recorded on December 17th of 2018, released it on December 26th, and I pranked you and you lied and told the people what you preached about. And I had forgotten this. I thoroughly enjoyed it in the moment. And most things like on the show, it's like people will say things. They're like, you said this. I'm like, did I? Like, in a few months, somebody be like, remember that time you made fun of all the people that had corona? I'll be like, no, I would never do that.
Yeah.
And, and so I don't remember doing that. Have you thought about it once since that happened until I just brought it up?
No, but as soon as you started telling the story, I immediately remembered it.
So this was a repressed memory because it was painful?
Yeah, like most of the episodes I do with you.
It's
great. Called a coping mechanism, Taylor.
Speaking of coping mechanisms, you want to hear something funny?
Absolutely.
And it's completely at my expense, and I'll try not to make fun of other people as I'm making fun of myself.
How refreshing. Yes, go for it.
How refreshing. So there's this thing on our cellular devices that counts our steps. You're familiar with this?
Yes.
Okay. So usually one thing I knew was that I am obviously being less active. I had started periodically going to the gym before the virus happened.
Right.
And it's track season. Usually I'm like a bear. I gain a lot of weight in the winter. And then in spring, I'm a track coach. I walk like 8,000 steps every practice and like 20,000 steps every meet. So that's like Taylor walking off the turkey from Thanksgiving and the ham from Christmas, and the thrill of making fun of you around Christmas time.
Right.
And so this is usually the time where I'm ramping up and being more active. Well, I last night I decided to go on a walk because I've been very sedentary. And this prompted me to pull out my health app on my iPhone. Okay. And I went back and I started by looking at the days, but we're going to start with the year. So through most of the year, I average about 5,000 steps a day. This, because like I'm pretty active during the weeks, and then on the weekends I'm pretty. So it's on the weekdays probably 7,000-8,000. Sure. But in February, when track season started, I was averaging a little over 7,000 steps a day. And then March hit, and I went down to 3,000. Less than half.
For a second, I thought you were going to say, I went down to 3 steps a day.
Well, we're getting there. This month, I am averaging 1,600 steps a day.
Wow.
And I want you to just work this out with me. Yeah. I know that you're not the brightest, but with averages when it comes to numbers. Okay. We don't even be precise. But I've been taking about 2 walks a week, which is way too little, because those are my days. I get 4,000 steps a day. So if I have 4,000 steps 2 days a week, you tracking?
Yeah, I'm already confused though.
4,000 steps.
Yes.
2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm averaging 1,600.
Mm-hmm.
So just what does that mean I'm doing on the other days, Anthony?
It means you're not walking very many steps.
It means I'm not walking at all. So here's the thing. Today, I've walked 572 steps. Yesterday, 4,652 because I took a walk. And what's really funny on this graph as well, all of my walks are at like midnight. So I have like 400.
Oh, that's really weird.
Day, yeah. And then right at midnight, it goes, you dropped, you went 4,000 steps. But here are some of my peak days over the last 3 weeks. You ready?
Ready.
One day I walked 806 steps. That's just like bathroom, kitchen, TV, kitchen, TV, kitchen, TV, kitchen, TV, bedroom. Like that's all that is.
Yeah.
829, 450. What was I doing? Like slithering?
You've begun to just roll to the next room. Just kind of.
It's ridiculous. And it's only gotten worse. Like the more we've gotten into this, the more sedentary I've become because I think I'm just giving up. Like I'm just like, we're never going outside again.
Now I'm just imagining your wife Sam just like carrying you to each room because you can't even move it. Just drag or like your kid, like get your kids to like just drag you to the room because you can't walk anymore.
They can't. I think I've gained 800 pounds. Wait, we can do this live. Here's what you're going to do. Okay. You're going to vamp for a second. Yeah. I'm going to go get that scale right over there, and I'm going to see how much weight I've gained. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Vamp, go.
Okay, so the thing is, Taylor doesn't even need to take walks or anything. You guys can't see this, but he is sweating so much. All he needs to do is podcast every day, and he'll lose like 300 pounds like that. And he'll be like a solid, 180 after he loses 300 pounds or something like that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, he's coming back.
I'm on the scale.
Yeah.
And it's dead. There are no batteries. Fantastic.
Wow, great content.
That's wonderful.
Time to plug the Patreon. Yeah.
What the hell? I just put new batteries in it. It's not working.
Is it because it's afraid?
I think
it's playing dead. Your scale's playing dead because it's afraid.
I think I broke it.
That was a great joke.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right, Anthony, here we go. You ready for this?
I'm so excited. Let's do this. This is a beautiful moment of vulnerability. I just want to affirm you.
I'm usually about 260. What do you think I'm going to be now?
Let's go 280.
Oh, boy. I sure hope not. It says it's sensing. I don't think it's working. I had to, like, rechange the batteries and mess with this. It's thinking. I think I broke it. I think I weigh too much.
I really think that your scale is just playing dead because it's afraid. It wants you to leave.
Told me to step off, and I stepped off a long time ago. You think it would notice?
Please step off, please. Oh God, no. Why do you do this to me?
Step off, thinking. What is happening? I did step off. Why do you make me hate myself? This is going tremendous. Oh my gosh, Anthony!
Am I right?
No.
Okay.
I'm so happy.
Oh, what are you?
Guess. I'm not. Why would I be happy, Anthony?
You're happy because you didn't gain a lot of weight.
I didn't gain a lot of weight.
Cool.
And I had a theory. I legit thought I was gaining a ton of weight.
Yeah.
I'm usually... Wait, there's no way that's right. Hold on. I've got to come back. I've got to do it somewhere where it's not on carpet. I will be right back.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right. We've spent the last 10 minutes trying to get my scale to work.
Yeah,
and
it's been very exciting.
I think I broke it because I'm fat. But we tried to do this live and it didn't go very well. So this shows you how well this show is planned. But I did my scale right here on the video because I thought that would be good. And it told me that I weighed 238. And I was like,
yeah.
Wait, what? And it's because if I use my scale on carpet, it doesn't do it correctly. So I went outside and I weighed myself on the tile. Do you want to get? I still have a smile on my face.
Okay, so like you said, you're normally 260. You said.
Yep.
Or are you 265 and you're happy?
259 and a half. I have lost half a pound. Take that, coronavirus. Beautiful. And here's why. You want to know why? Even though I've been super sedentary.
Yeah. Why?
I pulled a Father Anthony Sciarappa, and I've decided not to eat. I just don't eat anymore.
Okay, that will do it. That will make you not eat. Yeah. You won't gain weight if you do not put food inside of you.
Okay, so this whole thing was to say how bad I have been at like moving around. I've been very sedentary. I thought I had gained a lot of weight. Apparently I have not, and I'm very happy about this. This is a revelation to me. You're getting the real reaction after 10 minutes of me being angry at a scale. But so that's going well, apparently. Apparently I should be more sedentary and just not eat. I
really think you've just been sweating off the weight as you've been podcasting and streaming. It's got to be what it is.
I have. It is very hot in here. The AC guy is coming in an hour and a half, and I've never been happier. So maybe then I'll be 280 if I can sit here all the time. But yeah, I'm not eating a lot. I'm eating maybe 2 meals a day, sometimes 1, because I'm not hungry anymore, because I'm not moving, I guess.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
But what else was I going to talk about? Oh, yes, the moving, the not eating. You want to talk about my sleep habits?
Sure, let's just do a whole diagnostic on Taylor. How is he doing?
Well, I wasn't planning on doing this, but you showed up to the interview as a doctor.
I did. Yeah, right. Okay, fine.
So in my normal life, like back before COVID happened, I was a campus minister at a school. That was a long time ago, a whole month and a half. And so school starts at 8. I would roll in at about 8:15 most of the time, just because that's what cool campus ministers do. So I would go to bed at around midnight or 1, wake up around 7, get my 8 hours of sleep. That is not my normal body clock. My normal body clock is to go to bed at 1, wake up around 9, go to bed at 2, wake up around 10. That's my normal body clock. But this virus happened, and I've given up on a lot of things, as in life. And so I was like, whatever. And I started I was like, okay, I'll stay up till 2. Then I'll stay up till 2:30. And then I play a video game where on my phone where all the things reset, like you can buy new things and start, like essentially that's the day reset. So then I would stay up till 3 and play the game for about an hour because until about 4.
Right.
And like usually around that time I was relatively tired, right? But the longer
imagine,
but the longer I've done this, I'm no longer tired at 3 or 4 in the morning. Last night was the worst of it. I put my phone down at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was awake in my bed, wide awake, like it was like 10 o'clock at night and I'm trying to go to sleep when I usually go to bed at 12, right?
Mhm.
Wide awake. An hour and a half later, I fell asleep. I fell asleep at 5:30 this morning.
Woo!
Like, why am I wide awake at 4 o'clock in the morning? What have I done?
Yeah, that's going to be real difficult to get back into a normal schedule.
That's never going to happen.
Probably not. Eventually you'll have real responsibilities again,
Maybe.
and you'll have to do it.
So yeah, that's how my life has been. And you know what? You can't tell me anything because I've lost half a pound. So take that, Dr. Sciarappa.
Hey, yeah. God bless you. Bless your heart.
So speaking of no responsibilities, we've both been doing a lot of video gaming.
Yeah.
Wow, I sounded like I've never played a game. We've both been doing lots of video gaming.
Mm-hmm. Okay, boomer.
So I announced last week that I restarted the stream on Twitch. I became a Twitch affiliate since then. Twitch.tv/Forte.
You are a semi-professional gamer.
I am.
In my opinion. Mm-hmm.
I got to tell my mom that I made $23 video gaming.
Yeah.
And like it makes it validates my entire childhood. Those $23 that people have generously given to support me playing video games has been very nice.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I realized, I don't know if I've told, like how I do show prep. I think I've shared this, but not in a while. I just take notes on stuff throughout the week.
Right.
And I just compile them before the show starts. But you're special because you wasted all of your time in seminary and became a priest.
Right.
So I have certain things that I only get to talk to you about. The day after, I looked at my notes. The day after we recorded our last show, I took a note and I could only talk to you about it.
Okay.
Because it was right around the time that we all started having to lock into our homes.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I both started filling our time by playing video games. And I started playing a new game wherein I played a mage/priest. And I realized that you and I are both only virtual priests now. What do you think about that?
Oh, I hate it. I hated every part of that sentence. It made me so angry, and I'm trying to keep myself under control. I mean, part of what you're saying is true. Part of what you're saying is incredibly false. But yeah, it is weird. It is weird that most of my priesting, as far as my priesting that other people experience, is via some sort of video when they watch me live stream mass or when I give little talks and it's on my parish website or stuff like that. Yeah, so that's a thing. Yeah, I hate it. I hate that. I hate that you said that.
Yeah, that's why I saved it for a month.
Perfect.
Because I knew you would. But it makes me very happy. Which got me thinking, now that you're not a priest anymore, because that got canceled, if you weren't a priest, what job would you have? Like, do you have any skills?
It depends on your opinion. What I'm about to say next. I think I'd be a teacher. I think I'd be either a college professor or a teacher of some sort. I think I would really enjoy doing that.
Not smart enough to be a college professor, but I can totally see you teaching.
Oh, yes, I could.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay. You've convinced me. You're very persuasive.
I would have been a lawyer because of my argumentative skills.
No, but I mean, I think it's one of the things I enjoy a lot about priesthood, or at least one of the aspects is the teaching aspect. And, before in college, I double majored as an English major and philosophy major. So I was doomed to be some kind of nerd. I just, ended up being a priest nerd instead of like an academic nerd.
Now you've made me mad because I was just going to blurt out the word nerd and you said it first.
Oh, yeah. No. Every good priest is a nerd. And the ones who pretend they're not, they're usually the nerdiest. So
usually the nerdy. I thought you were going to say bad priest, and I was totally here for it. Okay. I have more to talk about video games and how it relates to our spiritual lives. But we're going to have to wrap up this segment. Whenever we come back, we're going to be talking with Aaron Weber. And then after that, we'll talk about ripping off the arms of demons. So don't go anywhere because Aaron Weber is going to bring us some joy because he's a professional comedian, not an amateur like Anthony. So finally, there will be two professional comedians, myself and Aaron. So don't go anywhere or my mom will be really sad. Father Anthony, we have both changed clothes. Why did that happen?
Because it was time for me to get priestly. So I decided to get all priested up,
You look good. You look very nice.
It's actually kind of like I've just been wearing like sweats and like t-shirts and everything, but it's like it's good to feel like I don't know, like a real priest again, wearing my clerics.
Well, I'm proud of you, and you're very kind. The reason we changed is because I made a mistake and forgot to record commercials when we recorded yesterday.
Yeah.
But you do look very nice, and I'm glad that you look nice for these commercials. One thing that is both looking nice and like it needs some work is your beard. What's going on over there?
I know. I'm trying to grow it so long that even when I don't wear my collar, like you just have to assume I'm wearing my collar at all times because the beard will cover it up.
So very, very functional beard.
Yes.
So the story I wanted to share today is that my last beard, which is the longest beard I ever had, stopped growing at a certain point because I got stressed out and just like my daily routine, I stopped using the beard balm for a couple of months. And like essentially it died. It wouldn't grow well anymore. It started getting all like split ends, which is a thing that I thought only women got in their head hair. So even during this quarantine, we all need to be taking care of our beards. So if you don't have any beard balm, if you're not using it, fortecatholic.com/beard will get you 11% off. So you can take care of yourself and smell very pretty for only you to smell.
Yeah, it's good.
You're good.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of your beard. Welcome back to Forte Catholic. And today's guest, I've already told you who it is. I'm excited that he is back. And I realized just moments before we started the interview that the last person to do the interview with me was none other than Father Anthony. So the crew is back again.
We're all back together.
Aaron Weber, a professional comedian and also professional stay-at-homer right now. How are you, dude?
I'm good, man. How are y'all doing? Holding up okay?
I think so. It was an interesting experience because I don't do this for everybody, but I enjoy listening to you talk. So I went to one of your comedy shows. I've listened to your podcast on social media and stuff. So I don't usually do this, but you're a returning guest. So I went back and listened to your interview on the first appearance on Forte Catholic. And the thing that stuck out to me the most was how happy we all were. Do you remember when we were all happy?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, totally different time. Feels like a different world almost.
It was like not only like regular happy, it was our Christmas episode. Like we were wishing each other a Merry Christmas. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. And now here we are stuck in the quarantine. And I asked you what we should talk about today, and you told me what?
That I have pretty much nothing going on in my life at the moment. So it might be it's all of a sudden I have no job and kind of no idea when I'll have a job again. So it's just, this has been a lot of my life, is doing Zoom calls like this and just talking to people and trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, you're good at that. And I'm going to try to convince you of that because you made me very happy and also frustrated. And then you let me down. We're going to go through this story. And just like the documentary that I think everyone in the world except maybe Father Anthony watched this weekend.
Definitely did not watch it.
Yeah, the Last Dance, so Michael Jordan. I teared up because and I didn't expect to, because it's a documentary, right? Who tears up at documentaries unless it's about like Uganda or something? And it was just watching these are some of my first memories as a human person, like watching Michael Jordan come out. And that's how the first episode ended. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna experience my childhood as an adult.
Yeah, it was amazing, dude. I had vague memories of watching, hearing that song, and then Michael Jordan. I remember he's 6'6" from North Carolina, so it was cool to relive all of that. And I didn't know that I remembered a lot of that, but I did watching it.
Yeah. It's very special. So how does this connect to you? I promised you I'm going to make this make sense.
Okay.
So I was listening to Colin Cowherd, who's the biggest sports podcaster, radio show host in the world.
Yeah.
And he was saying that it's called The Last Dance, and it's about how the Jordan dynasty fell apart. Like they were going for their sixth championship, their second three-peat. Everything's fallen apart, and how we as a society are more interested in how things fell apart than how they started. Which is interesting. And how this connects to you is right after you came on my show. So we have to go. We're going to do the time travel thing like they did in The Last Dance. We're going to go back to December 26th of 2018. You come on the show. We have a grand old time. And then 2 weeks later, you decide to start podcasting. So I have one question for you. Did I make it look so easy that you were like, man, I can do this? Or was I so bad that you were like, if he can do this, I can too?
Well, I think you're just such a good host. You made me feel comfortable with it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I can do this. I can get on here and talk. And then I started it up.
You sure did, and you did great. I listened to the first few episodes. I listened to the last episode today. So again, we're doing the Last Dance. We're fast forwarding to just a few months later when in your last episode you said, "Oh man, 2 weeks ago I told you I was going to be more consistent with this." And and here I am 2 weeks later. That was in June of 2019, and you've not produced another podcast. So here we go. The Last Dance of Aaron Weber. Why did you let me down?
Well, I have been called the Michael Jordan of podcasting. People have called me that. You know how it is, man. It's like if you let yourself slide on a deadline, especially if it's an arbitrary deadline that you set yourself, the minute there's any give, like you miss a day, you're like, oh, might as well be 2 days. Oh, I'll just be a week late. I'll just be a month late. And then all of a sudden it's 6 months later and I haven't even thought about my podcast. And you're one of the first people to mention it to me. So I don't think I was building something really there, but I think it's just I didn't understand going into it that this would be like work for me every week. And I just wasn't having that much fun with it. I'd much rather just kind of paratroop in and do other people's, like yours, whenever I can.
Yeah. Well, you're like, and that was one of the things, like you were doing a good job. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And like one of the things is I think what maybe I could be wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong. One of the things that maybe you don't understand is that you're just a joyful person to be around. So like you were like, I'm not sure what this podcast is. It's just me talking for 30 minutes about comedy in my life. And I'm like, yes, Aaron, we like you. Like that's what we enjoy listening to.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Maybe I'll like Jordan coming back into the league. Maybe I'll rejoin a little bit. It'll be like my Wizards years. Like I'll go
no, don't
make a few terrible episodes and then quit again. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. That's the most kind words I've ever heard about that podcast. That was a short chapter of my life. But
well, it's quarantine time. It's time to bring it back.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
Now, Taylor, I've got a question for you because I feel like you implied something rather strongly. I just want to bring it out into the open.
Okay.
When we first started this interview, you're like, oh, you're one of the few people that I like listening to. And you're one of the few people I've gone back and listened to the episode again. And you've had multiple repeat guests. And you said I feel like you hate every person you've ever interviewed other than Aaron Weber.
No, you missed the point. I did heavily imply that I only like listening to him,
Yes.
which is why I didn't let you say anything until just now.
I'll say that. I've been thinking about that the entire time. Like, wait a second. This is the scoop right now. We're learning a lot about who Taylor is.
Yes, Aaron Weber's the only person I've ever enjoyed having on the podcast.
Amazing.
Is that what you wanted?
Yes, that is. I'm happy.
Are you not entertained?
Good. Yeah, you can continue whatever you were talking about.
Whatever I was doing. So speaking of you, though, Father Anthony, Aaron, the last time that he came on, came up with one of the greatest revelations in my entire life. I've been Catholic for 30 years. At the time of the interview, I was 29 years old, had grown up in the church just like Aaron. I was not the son of a deacon, which is why I turned out the way I did, and he turned out the way he did. You can make your own inferences there. But Aaron and I were talking about how, because he performs in a lot of Protestant churches, and they don't have kneelers. And we got to this point where Aaron realized that priests don't kneel. And it's one of the greatest insights I've ever heard in my entire life. He said it as a joke, and it's wrecked me. Every time I go to mass now, I'm like, those darn priests, they don't even have to kneel like me.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if I said it then, but that's kind of the reason why I became a priest. I was tired of kneeling and those terrible kneelers. And those pews, they're super uncomfortable. I sat in the pew just the other day because my church was empty, and I figured I'll just go in the church and pray a little bit. Oh my gosh, how do you sit in those week after week? They're miserable. So that was a part of my discernment, I think it was, that I don't want to be Protestant. I don't want to kneel in church anymore, so I guess I'll just spend 8 years of my life to become a priest and do that. So it just seemed like the easier option.
Yeah, sounds real easy. Easy.
Yeah. It's been the priest so far.
Well, I just started giving up on the kneelers, man. You see people, you look around and you see people just kind of sitting. If you just scoot up a little bit and look like you're trying, I think God thinks that's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, that's
You
what I
scoot
tell
forward,
myself.
you lean over, and have like a serious look on your face.
Yeah,
and
just
then you're
look
fine.
uncomfortable. Just look uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
that's good enough. He's trying.
And
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you and I share something in common. We are both men of a certain girth. So kneeling in most pews, when I kneel, like I can't even kneel straight up because my
Oh, sure.
belly is touching
All the
like
songbooks and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, the
Yeah.
songbooks. And like if pews have any kind of recline at all, people with a gut like myself, we can't kneel properly. So that's
Yeah,
my
yeah, no
excuse for
shot.
why I sit down.
No shot. And then you're just on top of the guy in front of you, right? And then when they sit up and you're still kneeling and you're just basically neck to neck with whoever's in front of you, it's what's going on here. And then you got to sit back, and then it's just dominoes through the back of the church, right?
Yeah. Wait, what church do you go to?
It's basically like yeah. What he's saying is like pews and airplane seats, they're basically the same thing. It's the same process.
Yeah, and we're all coach and you get business class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't genuflect going into my airplane seat.
No.
I'll tell you that much. That would be weird. But
I
yeah,
do.
I use for so many. You do?
It ensures that no one talks to me the whole flight.
Now, I used to, when I was growing up, it was you're just looking around waiting for the first person to sit up so that you can sit up
Without feeling guilty.
Exactly. I just started right around age 18. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be that guy. So I was like, I'll set a trend for the whole church here. I'll just sit up and then everyone follows my lead.
Well, I'm glad you've been a leader in the Catholic Church for
Hey.
so long.
Yep.
Does your shirt say mom on it?
This is a Liberty University mom sweatshirt that I regret getting, but I wear it a lot now.
Well, congratulations. I didn't know you were a mother the last time you were on.
I appreciate it.
On the new development.
Well, I saw it because I got this a long time ago, kind of as a joke. And now, I never wear it outside the house. But now I haven't left the house in a long time, so I'll just throw it on. I kind of regret talking about it now. But anyway. You see Liberty University basically opened back up in the middle of the pandemic. You follow that story at all?
No, I didn't. I'm a little behind on my Liberty University news.
Oh, yeah. I get Google alerts to my phone. No, I don't. Anyway, I just saw they reopened right in the middle of the pandemic. And then a bunch of kids started getting the coronavirus. I was like, yeah, of course. So there's probably a massive class action lawsuit coming for Liberty University.
Speaking of that, Father Anthony, I just was able to share with Father Anthony a story from his own diocese that he hadn't heard about because he's so plugged in. But there was a priest that it cracked me up, and it probably shouldn't crack me up, and I should probably go to confession, just not the way they did. So they did the drive-by confessionals where there's like a sheet that protects you from all diseases.
I keep telling people, is a drive-through confessional? A drive-by confessional is something totally different.
Nope. I like it a lot.
A drive-by confessional.
A drive-by confessional sounds like you don't even put it in park, dude. You just kind of
exactly.
So drive-by confessionals, and the priest is sitting there. The priest got the virus. That's not the funny part. Very sad. But the funny part was because of the seal of confession, he couldn't share who he saw who might have the virus, or who he saw because he could have infected them. So because of the seal of confession, he couldn't say hey, you might have the virus. I was like, what a strange use of the seal.
Does that break the seal of confession just to say that somebody did come to confession?
Yeah, you can't even say who has gone to confession to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's pretty intense. But here's the thing though.
No, I'm glad that's how it is, but I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing though. If the priest knows he got it from hearing confessions, it's like, in general, I got it from hearing confessions. That means whoever came up to him was definitely symptomatic at the time. So I just imagine this guy coming up coughing and hacking, going to confession, and the priest having to deal with this. And now because of that whole incident, we can't have confessions. Confessions in my diocese have been canceled since then.
Really?
So we can't even do there's no confessions in my diocese. So because someone was selfish and couldn't wait a few extra days to get better and decided to cough on a priest, we can't have confessions anymore.
Well,
I'm going to yell about this for a second. This is making me really angry.
you're so unmerciful. You're so unmerciful.
No.
He was
People
dying.
are dumb.
That man was dying, and he wanted to
no,
go to
no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. If you can drive a car, you're not dying. Okay, so here's the thing.
Wait, that's not true in any scenario
That
ever.
is often true. If you're dying, you're in bed. That's where everyone dies, not in cars, obviously.
Yes,
That's not the
there's never
point.
been a car
You're
death.
distracting me from my
ridiculous.
point. You're distracting me from my points. I'm going to get on a soapbox for a second because everyone's complaining about not receiving the sacraments. You see what happened in this situation. Most priests in my diocese are like 60 plus years old. If we all go to mass, all the priests in my diocese are dying. So can we please calm down about this? Think about your priests. They're all old. If you give them the Rona, we're doomed. That's all I had to say to that.
I like how we bring a professional comedian on to like uplift people's spirits, and
No.
Father Anthony decides that's the time to yell at everybody.
They've had it coming.
I have two questions about this incident. One, can the priest can talk to the person that he knows he contracted it from, right?
No. So
He
I can't
can't?
if I hear your confession,
Yeah.
I can't bring up your confession to you.
Even
I
if it's
can't-
in a different confession?
Hey, last
Yeah.
week you were here, you got me sick.
No. So the priest shouldn't.
Wow.
Yeah. You can bring it up to me, but I can't even like act on information that I heard in the confessional. And sometimes this will happen. Like when I first got to my parish and people go to confession to me and they might say, hey, I'd love to talk to you some other time, blah, blah, blah. Or they say, I'd like to be a reader or something for mass. I'd like to volunteer. I have to tell them, make sure you tell me that outside the confessional because I will not contact you because I am not allowed to act on any
Wow.
information I hear in the confessional. That's how
Even
strict
like on the way out, like,
maybe
hey,
maybe it's on the way out as they're like giving me the
halfway
finger
through the
guns.
door. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But like in that until I give like the absolution and the sign of
Yeah.
the cross and everything within that, boop, no good.
Sure.
You know,
Mid
and this is
confession, I
how-
can't do. Hey, quick aside.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Sidebar.
come back. Pause all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Is there any talk at all about what's preventing priests from doing or confessions over Zoom, over the internet, like telemedicine?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the big thing because it doesn't seem like there's a super satisfying concrete answer. But in general, the thing is sacraments require a personal encounter. That's the whole point of them, that the priest is bringing the presence of Christ, and that happens in a personal sort of way. So there needs to be a reasonable like distance. And like I said, so like that's the gist of it. But yeah, when you hear that, you're like, that's a little bit, that feels like not a very solid answer. Normally as Catholics, we have like rules and solid answers and stuff. But I tell people, if you brought this microphone over to a piece of bread, I couldn't consecrate it over the internet. You would think that's silly. But for some reason, we don't think hearing confessions over the phone is silly. So it's hard to kind of explain. That's the best I can do.
No, I get that. Yeah, I've learned to just be satisfied with those kind of ansers.
Beautiful.
You know
You're
what I
a
mean?
good Catholic. You're one of the good ones.
I remember having a lot of arguments with my dad about stuff, and he would just say, "Look, you won't appreciate this answer until you're older, but you just need to accept this." I'm like, all right. So I've learned to accept stuff like that, and that makes sense. I mean, it is kind of silly, but if we were like the next room over,
Right.
and instead of talking through a screen, we're talking on FaceTime. You know what I mean? It's just how
Overflow
wide
at
does that-
mass.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I mean, I think that this is stuff that's being discussed right now by people who are smarter than me. So,
well, I appreciate it. I've always wondered about that.
Well, good. I'm glad, Aaron, you came on the show to learn some things. That was the goal.
Yeah.
The goal was for you to bring people joy, and instead, Father Anthony yelled at us and then taught us things.
you started off the segment saying, "I don't know what we're going to talk about," so I just started making stuff up.
No, see, that was a ploy. I knew exactly what we were talking about. I compared Aaron to Michael Jordan. That was.
It was great. It was
I
good.
appreciate it, man.
All right, so I'm gonna say it here. You said that one of the problems that you were having was that you couldn't set yourself for an arbitrary deadline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it here with all of my audience and Father here present that your podcast will be relaunching within the next few weeks. So now it's not
You're gonna will it
arbitrary
into existence.
I am. I need one new episode, at least one, just one in
Okay.
the next few weeks.
Don't you think at a certain point it's like it's been too long?
Well, my audience has been
No.
saying that since episode 32, and this is 185. So take that.
Well, it's just the last 2 episodes of that podcast I did. I was like, oh man, it's been a little more than a week. I'm sorry. And now it's been a year. So I just don't know how to even approach that.
You're a
Just
comedian. I'm
ignore it.
sure you'll figure it out.
You're right. You're right. Stakes are pretty low too, so I can have some fun with it. Okay.
You can do
Okay.
it. You can do it. Okay.
Okay.
So last thing. We got to do one of the things that we planned on before Father Anthony co-opted this thing. So like you seem to be in good spirit. So you're either a great actor as well as comedian, or you're actually in good spirit. So like the world is falling apart. What is one thing that a comedian is doing to stay joyful during this time?
Oh, comedians have never been joyful. I think here's the thing. I think what's keeping me sane about all of this is it's always upsetting when you aren't getting opportunities, you're not doing shows. But there's a little relief when you know that nobody else is either. Right? So there's no jealousy and there's no fear of missing out. There's no FOMO. So it does feel a little good. It's like, I got no shows this weekend. I have no prospects. My calendar's empty. But you know what? Bill Burr, Amy Schumer, Louis C.K., they're not doing shows either. So
Louis C.K. isn't doing shows, but that's for a different reason.
Hey, he's doing shows, man. He's selling out theaters. He's back. But now nobody's back. You know what I mean? Now we're all gone. So that makes me feel a little better. And then it's just there's a lot of time for self-reflection. There's a lot of things I've been telling myself that I don't have the time for, and I'm realizing I did have the time for that, and now I definitely have the time, and I just don't want to do it.
Like podcasting.
Like podcasting, like exercise, like learning how to cook, like cleaning up my house, things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm learning more about myself, that's for sure.
But what's great is like you're gonna come back so much stronger whenever we're able to come back. Like you're gonna have a killer joke and you're working it out there. Be like, it'll be 2024 and you'll be like, 4 years into my comedy career, there was a stretch in the spring of 2020 where I had the same amount of bookings as Jerry Seinfeld. I was on the top of my game and I was tremendous. Aaron Weber, thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey,
today.
thank you guys, man. Y'all are great.
This was awesome. How can people stay in touch with you if you decide to post this podcast soon?
At Real Aaron Weber on everything. Hit me up on TikTok. I'm blowing up on TikTok, guys.
Attaboy. All right, I will. I think that's the one place I don't follow you. So, Aaron, thanks so much. Father Anthony, thanks for nothing. You're the worst. I'll be right back with Father, or maybe I'll kick him out and Aaron will be my co-host for the next segment. We'll see what happens. Don't go anywhere. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Taylor.
We are currently on YouTube right now.
Look at this. People don't even know on your podcast how often I talk with my hands. Now they can see. It's beautiful.
You've always just assumed that people have always just assumed that I was being mean and pretending like you were. No, you actually talk with your hands.
I'm actually
all the
ridiculous.
time.
Yes,
all the time. So if you're listening on the podcast, if you've never checked out the YouTube, search Forte Catholic on YouTube, youtube.com/Forte Catholic. We've been doing this for a few months and it's growing very quickly, and I'm really enjoying the video thing, and it's not something I thought I would ever say. It's much less edited, so you get a little bit more raw in who we actually are, which is fun. If you are watching on YouTube, just make sure that you subscribe, and if you wouldn't mind, share this with somebody else, just so that this thing can continue to grow, and so that you can see Father Anthony only dancing with his head right now. YouTube.com/Forte Catholic. Welcome back to Forte Catholic, the game where everything is made up and the points don't matter, but somehow I'm still annihilating Father Anthony like I do every time we play video games, because I am amazing and he is terrible.
You broke my brain. You broke my brain.
Well, that's not hard. You played on. So I've streamed 3 times as a Twitch affiliate. All
Yes.
that means is that people can give me their money to play video games, and it's the best thing in the world.
It's the weirdest thing.
It is. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can give me $3 for free. You're already paying Lord Bezos however much you pay for Amazon Prime. Leak your account. Even if you're never going to watch me, you can give me $3, and maybe I'll give Anthony 8 pennies out of that as his.
That'd be amazing.
Okay, so speaking of video games, I have been playing a video game called Doom. Have you heard of this game?
I am aware of this game.
Okay, so Doom came out. The original one came out like when I was a small child, and it was on PC, and the graphics were just tremendous, just leading the industry at the time. It kind of looks like my son playing with blocks, but they remade it in 2016, and the story of Doom, very, very quickly, is essentially you play as the Doom Slayer, okay? And you go to Mars, because that makes sense, and on Mars, it's all these people that are like, oh, we need to find renewable energy because all the dinosaurs aren't going to live forever as our oil, and oil prices are being gashed as of yesterday. And I just noticed, I'm in the middle of this story, and I just noticed that every time we do a different segment, you change your name, and I don't know if people can see that. So at in the first segment, you were Taylor's favorite priest, and then the last segment, you were Taylor's least favorite priest, and now you're the only priest who will talk to Taylor.
I'm glad you've realized that. This is a fun game for me while we've been talking.
Well, it's your only good joke so far, so I had to point it out. So back to Doom. Back to the very serious idea of killing demons on Mars. So they have found renewable energy on Mars because we've run out of dinosaurs. And there's a renewable energy source. And what people didn't know is that they were siphoning the energy of hell. So there are demons. And of course, people got greedy. They wanted more and more of this energy, even though that literally the point of it is renewable. So it's renewing itself. So why are they being greedy? But that's human nature. So they're getting all of this energy from hell. And then, of course, the thing that they are using to siphon the energy out of hell breaks. And then the demons come onto Mars. And then and then you have to kill the demons. Okay, that's the premise of the game. Very, very tremendous storytelling. Okay, so I'm playing this game. And there are a lot of connections that I've made to my spiritual life because it's all I have anymore. So there's nothing that feels better. On Holy Saturday, I was playing Doom, and this is where all this stuff started happening.
Okay, yeah.
Playing Doom on Holy Saturday, and I am slaying demons, and I'm like, look at me. Like my character is Jesus, just going down, because at some points you go down into hell and you're slaying the demons, just as Jesus was doing on Good Friday and Holy Saturday. For, the 30 hours that the Catholic Church celebrates that he was dead instead of 3 days. But, that's a whole nother thing that I yell about every year on the internet, and people think I'm being serious, and I am. So
I'm glad. Yeah, it's good. Own it, Taylor.
It drives me crazy. He was dead for 3 days. Yes, but we as the Catholic Church celebrate Good Friday at 3 and Holy Saturday Mass at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Sir, that's 26 hours. But anyway, that's beside the point. That was last week. So just as Jesus descended into hell to defeat the demons on Good Friday and Holy Saturday.
Just like Jesus did.
Like Jesus. That's what I was doing.
Yes.
Because, so like it's the most spiritual thing I've done in 3 weeks is play.
Woo!
So here's the thing though. I'm having all of these grand revelations about my holy life, and I'm just slaying demons with all the work, comparing it to obviously the show. I'm just slaying demons with this show and with everything that I do, of course. And then I die in the game. Okay. Oof. And when you die in the game, a large demon will like come and rip your arm off. And I'm like, wow, that might actually be my spiritual life. I think it is. I'm just trucking along in my spiritual life, and things are going well, and I feel like I'm slaying demons, and all of a sudden I'm on the ground with a demon pulling off my head and stomping on my chest.
Yeah.
So, this is now, and we've joked for a while now that I am your spiritual director, but I want to see if you, as my spiritual directee, have any insights into what is going on with my Doom spiritual life.
Okay, with your human spiritual life. Well, I think the way you were saying it, I think was very revelatory. That it's exactly when we start to get prideful about how good we are and how, like, oh, we are defeating the enemy with our own power and our own guns. We're the ones going into hell. That's when you start thinking like that. That's when the demons get you. So I think it's kind of accurate to the spiritual life. It's once we start thinking that we're doing all the work, then Jesus is like, okay, fine, you do the work yourself. See how it goes if that's what you think you want to do. And then demons rip off our arms, spiritually speaking. It just beat us, and then we get sad.
So what you just said is, if I get good enough at this game where I don't die anymore, I don't need Jesus?
That's how we act when we think we're doing. Oftentimes, when we get good in the spiritual life,
Get
we
good.
think when you get good. We're gonna keep the analogy going, okay? None of the old people got that. When you get good in the spiritual life, then you begin to think you're the one who is doing all the work. That's when you get prideful. That's when the Lord lets you do stuff on your own with your own strength, and that's when you fail.
I'm sure you just said very holy things, but all I can think about is Jonathan Blevins writing a book called Get Good, and then like in little letters in the spiritual life, because his brother Tyler wrote the Get Good book about video games, and maybe you could write the foreword. So I don't know what you just said. Maybe you can include what you just said in the foreword, because I wasn't listening. I was just thinking about a great marketing opportunity for
Beautiful.
John.
Well, if the internet has taught us anything, is that you can make a lot of money off the Catholic Church if you play it right. So
That's what I'm doing. Oh, man. So I saw another thing that made me think about my spiritual life.
I'm glad you're at least thinking about your spiritual life. That's encouraging.
It is. I think I texted you the other day because, like, I don't know, things have been rough. So we talked about my steps earlier, and I was like, I need to be a better person. I need to be more active, right? And I was like, I should probably also pray this week. So what I did is the 2 walks that I've taken, I did like my my Pray As You Go podcast. It's like, I don't know if I've talked to you about this before. I've talked about it on the show.
Okay.
So Pray As You Go, it's run by it's an order of priests and brothers, but they also have some lay people that help as well, just for some variety of voices, a few women on there, that sort of thing. But essentially it's like a Catholic meditative podcast. It's 10-15 minutes. It's like the daily readings. It's kind of like Lexio, but guided. There's music,
Sure.
very like Catholic music, like Taizé or like Latin chant, or sometimes it's mostly that kind of stuff. Every now and then there's more like a modern, but it's like really mellow meditative music playing. They'll like ask you guided questions. So it's like, every time I try to pray for 10-15 minutes at a time, I end up like going off somewhere. So the podcast actually helps me like stay focused for 10-15 minutes or so. And everybody that knows, that listens to the show knows that I can't stay focused for more than 10 to 15 minutes because the segments are 18 minutes, and I usually lose track about right now.
Right.
So we're at 8 minutes and 25 seconds right now, so it's all going off the rails. But I was like, why don't I combine these things? I'll combine my prayer and my walking. And you had just gotten on to me about my spiritual life, so I texted you. I just prayed and walked. I'm essentially Jesus now.
Right. Which, I did say Jesus did a lot of both of those things, but
he did. So essentially, like, my point is, I've been so Jesus-like this week. I've been slaying demons, I've been walking, and I've been talking to my Father, both earthly mostly, but
how do you want me to respond to this, Taylor? What do you expect me to say?
I don't want Anthony to respond. I want Dr. Anthony to respond, the psychiatrist.
I'm glad you've noticed all those superficial connections to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
I'm essentially Jesus now.
Yeah, that's kind of blasphemy, depending on how you take it or how you mean it.
What's worse, that or me accidentally making fun of a virus earlier?
It's tough. You're on a roll today. I'm not gonna lie.
I am. It's because I'm hot and it's very warm in here, just like the hell that I went down to and killed all the demons in. So back to the meme about my spiritual life.
Yes.
You've heard of the SpongeBob SquarePants, correct?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And I think subliminally I knew this was coming because earlier I said 4 minutes later. That's a SpongeBob reference. Okay, but I never watched SpongeBob like when I was growing up. I think I've seen half of one episode ever told. I've never watched an entire episode. So there's a character, I don't know who he is, but he's mopping the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a meme that was essentially like, it said like, me trying to take care of my sins without Jesus, which is a point I think you were trying to make when I was tuned out earlier. And so this guy is mopping the floor. Now, are you a SpongeBob guy? You're relatively.
I'm aware of the SpongeBob, yes.
Okay, where does SpongeBob take place?
It takes place in a place called Bikini Bottom.
Correct. And that is, there's a lot of air available there, right?
No, it's underwater. It's underwater. But they
Okay.
are all fish creatures for the most part, and so it's not a big deal that they're underwater. In fact, it is
Correct.
ideal that they're underwater.
So this man mopping the floor
Mhm.
is hilarious.
Right.
Because
It's,
they're
yes.
underwater.
They play with that gag several times, yes, throughout the show.
So apparently, like, essentially what he's saying, like, I feel like me mopping is also a good picture for my spiritual life currently.
Right, yeah. That sort of makes sense, I think.
You know what I also thought about while I was in the shower really
Oh,
late last night?
Okay, yes, more thoughts in the water. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, like right at 4:00 in the morning when I was about to go to sleep.
So weird. Yes. Okay.
You know how you weigh less underwater?
Oh, I thought you meant like me in general, but yes, underwater.
Yeah, yeah. I weigh less during quarantine, but we've
Yeah.
already established that.
Yeah.
You know, like you and other people and other things and
Yeah.
other objects weigh less underwater, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how much does water weigh when it's underwater? Like,
So
does
I
water weigh less? Like,
So I think it's you're buoyant underwater. You weigh the same. Gravity acts on you the same. I think. I think there's some sort of scientific distinction that we're missing. But what was your point? What's your point about water and us being underwater?
I didn't have a point. It was just a
Okay.
thought I had in the shower. And I was like, how much, like, because essentially what I was trying to decide was how much the ocean weighed. And I didn't know if we could, like, do a simple formula of this is how much a gallon of water weighs and this is how many gallons are in the ocean. But then I was like, but how much does the gallon at the bottom weigh? Because it's completely under 1,000 leagues of water.
Mm-hmm. I think you've been sweating too much. You need to get a glass of water, and maybe go for another walk.
The ocean is the only league that is open for business right now.
Yes. Oh, that was actually pretty good. It took me a second. I was like, oh, that's kind of clever.
Hey, all of your WWE people are getting laid off. How do you feel about this?
It's interesting. So the WWE is this huge corporation, right? And one of their business practices as of late has been to hire every wrestler possible so that other companies don't get to use that talent. So they've been hoarding a lot of talent that they have not used on TV. Now they're releasing them all in the middle of a pandemic, which is kind of a scumbag thing to kind of do, especially when you have like $500 million of just liquid assets right now, and you could pay for them for another 8 months. So a lot of people are saying that, wow, there's a lot of corporate greed going on in WWE. I didn't say that because I'm not going to get sued by them. I'm just saying people are saying that. So those are thoughts that other people have about that company.
And you want to know why I brought that up?
Why'd you bring that up?
Because it's also another signifier of how my spiritual life is going. Well, that's the end of the show, Anthony. How do you think it went?
It was okay.
That last segment was a blast. I enjoyed it. I'll be back next week. See ya! Hey, Anthony, I was pretty lazy for a few months. And by lazy, I mean so overworked that I had to be lazy on the Patreon because it was something I couldn't keep up with.
Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, thank goodness for the coronavirus. It's the joke. We're sticking with it. Because of this virus, my life has slowed down, and it's only beneficial to those who are patrons over on patreon.com/Forte Catholic, because I've been slowly catching up. I've been episodes behind on posting the bonus content that is exclusive over to Patreon. I just posted some stuff. Like, it's fun. It's more fun this way for me being behind. I don't mean to be behind, but it's been fun because I go back like 8 weeks and I'm like, oh my gosh, I said that.
It's true. Really, the really good stuff, the choice stuff, really does go on your Patreon. It's yeah.
You were one of the first patrons, and you were like, wow.
I know.
I think we became friends because you were like, I like this guy when he's unleashed. So
yes.
If you want Taylor Unleashed and Father Anthony going crazy, patreon.com/Forte Catholic. You can support the show, get extra exclusive bonus content only found there. So yeah, do that so that my children can continue to eat during quarantine. Love you.
Love you too.
The end. We did it.